The storm. The day began with silence, that strange, heavy kind that makes the air feel like it's holding its breath. Whiskers noticed it first. He sat on the windowsill, ears twitching, eyes narrowed, watching the clouds gather like a pack of gray wolves. The world outside looked different. Darker, slower, suspiciously quiet. Even the birds, usually noisy little maniacs, were gone. Daisy noticed next. She paused mid-feather pounce, head tilted. "Miss P?" Whiskers didn't answer. He was staring at the horizon, tail flicking like a metronome of concern. The trees were swaying now, their leaves whispering in low, worried voices. And then, the first growl. A low, distant rumble rolled across the sky. Daisy jumped so high she nearly achieved orbit. Whiskers flattened his ears. His eyes widened. The rumble came again, louder this time. And then, flash! The world exploded in white light for half a heartbeat. Daisy squeaked. Whiskers hissed. Somewhere in the kitchen, the human yelled, "It's just thunder! Just thunder!" Whiskers thought, heart pounding. That sounded like the sky exploded. The rain followed, slow at first, then faster, until the window was a blur of streaking silver. Drops raced each other down the glass, colliding, merging, vanishing. The sound was hypnotic. 1,000 tiny paws tapping on the roof. Daisy crept closer to Whiskers, her fur puffed up like she'd stuck her paw in an electrical socket. "What's happening?" her eyes said. He tried to look brave. "Nature," his tail said confidently. His face, however, screamed. "Run!" Another boom rattled the window. The kittens shot under the couch in perfect synchronization, tails fluffed, pupils huge. From their safe zone, they peeked out cautiously. Lightning flashed again, and the entire living room flickered with ghostly blue light. For a moment, Whiskers could see his reflection in the TV screen. A brave warrior, defender of the household, trembling only a little. The human appeared, calm as ever, carrying a blanket and a cup of tea. They sat down on the couch and said softly, "It's okay, kitties, just a storm." The words meant nothing, but the tone helped. Whiskers' ears perked slightly. Daisy crawled forward first, tail still bushy, and hopped onto the couch. She burrowed into the blanket like a mole seeking emotional stability. Whiskers followed, pretending he was just inspecting the situation. Totally not scared, just conducting safety analysis. The human smiled and reached out a hand, scratching behind his ear. He froze for a moment, then melted into the touch. The storm raged on, but the sound of thunder grew distant behind the rhythm of purring. Daisy peeked out from the folds of the blanket, eyes huge. Another flash lit up the room. She flinched, then looked at Whiskers. He didn't move. He sat tall, eyes half closed, pretending to be a wise elder cat who had definitely seen all this before. He hadn't. Inspired, Daisy took a deep breath, puffed out her chest, and stared bravely at the window. Boom. She yelped and dove right back into the blanket. Whiskers blinked slowly, as if to say, "You tried. Respect." The storm went on for hours. The rain drummed against the window like a wild orchestra, thunder growled, and the lightning painted the walls in silver streaks. But inside, there was warmth, a soft island of peace amid the chaos. Eventually, Daisy drifted to sleep against Whiskers, her tiny paw resting on his side. The human muted the TV and just watched them, smiling. Whiskers' purring slowed, became steady like the soft hum of a tired engine. For the first time, he realized storms weren't just noise and fear, they were reminders of how safe it felt to be not alone. He lifted his head once more, gazing at the rain. The lightning flashed again, but this time he didn't flinch. Instead, he watched in quiet awe. The storm was powerful, yes, but it was also beautiful. The rain glistened like falling stars, the thunder rolled like distant drums, and for a moment the whole world outside seemed alive. He blinked slowly, lowering his head beside Daisy's, his thoughts soft and content. The human whispered, "Good night, my brave kittens." As the storm faded into gentle rain, Whiskers dreamed of running through tall grass under a stormy sky, unafraid, unstoppable, lightning flickering around him like applause. And beside him, as always, ran Daisy, chasing thunder, laughing at the wind. Ere the light returns. When morning came, the world sparkled. The storm had passed, leaving everything washed bright and impossibly fresh. Sunlight spilled through the windows in soft golden ribbons, catching on tiny droplets that clung to the glass like diamonds. The air hummed with that quiet after-rain magic, the kind that makes you want to stretch, yawn, and start something new. Whiskers woke first. He blinked slowly, taking in the sunlight, the calm, the faint smell of wet earth drifting through the half-open window. His whiskers twitched. Everything felt cleaner, bigger, like the world had pressed refresh. Next to him, Daisy was a little loaf of warmth, paws tucked neatly, tail curled like a question mark. She snored, adorably, and every few seconds her ears twitched as if she were chasing butterflies in her dreams. Whiskers stretched luxuriously, one paw then the other, spine arching like a bow. He looked regal, or at least that's what he told himself. The mighty explorer, survivor of the storm. He padded softly toward the window and hopped onto the sill. Outside, the garden glittered. Puddles reflected the sky, the trees shimmered, and somewhere a bird sang as if auditioning for a musical. Whiskers closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. Yes, he thought, this is how victory smells. Behind him came a sleepy chirp. Daisy stumbled up, blinking at the sunlight. Merp! Come look, Whiskers seemed to say with a flick of his tail. The world's been repainted. Daisy jumped onto the sill beside him, wobbling slightly before steadying herself. Her reflection in the glass was a little wild, fur still sticking out in every direction from last night's chaos. She looked at Whiskers and giggled in that voiceless kitten way, a soft puff of amusement. He tried to ignore her. He had an image to maintain. Outside, a butterfly drifted past the window, gliding lazily through the new sunlight. Daisy's pupils went wide. Oh no, Whiskers muttered internally. Not again. Too late. She leapt, and smack, her tiny nose met glass. The butterfly floated away, utterly unbothered. Whiskers sighed. Daisy, his expression said. We've talked about the barrier thing. She sneezed, shook her head, and chirped indignantly. The human entered the room then, hair messy, holding a steaming mug. They smiled at the kittens, one elegant and reflective, the other still trying to understand glass physics. Well, the human said softly, voice full of affection, looks like the storm's over. They opened the balcony door just a little. The smell of morning air rushed in. Damp grass, blooming flowers, sunshine warming wood. Whiskers' ears perked instantly. Adventure? Opportunity? Snacks? The human chuckled. No escapes today, you two? Whiskers gave a dignified blink that absolutely did not mean we'll see about that. Daisy, meanwhile, sniffed at the breeze with unfiltered joy, her tail vibrating with excitement. They spent the morning exploring the post-storm world from the safety of the balcony. A snail slid slowly along the railing. Daisy was mesmerized. Whiskers watched with mild disgust. How do you even hunt that? It's basically wet furniture. The humans sat nearby with their coffee, reading quietly, occasionally glancing up to smile. It was peaceful, the kind of peace that feels earned. Whiskers sat tall, soaking in the sunlight. He thought about everything. The great escape, the thunder monster, the mysterious red dot, the glorious chaos of existence. He had faced wind, rain, pigeons, and Daisy's boundless curiosity, and somehow survived it all with his dignity mostly intact. He looked at Daisy, who was now staring into a puddle, batting at her reflection like it was an intruder. He sighed and smiled. Maybe, he thought, being an explorer isn't just about running outside. Maybe it's about seeing new things, even when you're inside. A beam of sunlight moved across the balcony, landing perfectly on the two of them. Daisy squinted up at the sky, eyes wide, as if she could see the whole universe up there. Then she yawned, huge and dramatic, and flopped down against Whiskers, instantly asleep again. He blinked, looked at her tiny sleeping face, then at the endless blue above. Someday, he thought, we'll see more of it. But for now, warmth, safety, purring. He closed his eyes and the sounds of the morning filled the air. Birds singing, the breeze rustling leaves, the gentle hum of a world reborn. The human looked over from the chair, smiled softly, and whispered, "My little explorers." Whiskers' tail twitched. Yes, that was exactly what they were. Outside, a butterfly danced across the sunlight again, gliding past the open air. Neither kitten moved this time. They just watched, quiet, content, full of wonder. The light had returned, and so had peace. And in that moment, Whiskers knew the world was vast, strange, and beautiful, but it was even better with Daisy beside him.